Hi, everyone. I think I am live right now for Tuesday, 8 o'clock show with special guests, the Piper Report. And we've got some good news for everyone. Some interesting news, some weird news. So let me just pull up the chat here and see how this looks. Oh, hello, Christian. Can you guys see, the Piper Report too?
I don't think so. I think it's just you.
Just want to make sure. Now I can see you. All right. So let's start with our first article. So we wanted to talk a little bit about the Clinton Foundation. There's new investigations coming up. It started kind of with the Trump executive order on December 21st, and it was called the Executive Order Blocking the Property of Persons Involved in Serious Human Rights Abuse.
Wait. I think they're just seeing me now. I don't think you're being viewed now.
Oh, okay.
And I don't think they want to look at me for an hour. Maybe, I don't know.
Let's see. Thanks. Now people can see me.
Let's see. All right, I'm gonna talk once and wave. See if it changes on the screen.
Someone says they see Piper and they hear Holly. Okay. All right. Well, we'll kind of flip through the two. I don't know what's going on with that. I'm sorry. That happened with our last show, I think, too. It was just me.
I think it's your screen share, to be honest. I think you might have to play around with that.
Let's see.
A BB Hammer wrote, Holly's voice with Piper's face. It was like a dub movie out of sync.
All right, let me just pull up the screen share here. All right, so the first article I have up here is DC press corps knew for a full year that Hillary Clinton was behind the Russia dossier, and they hid it from the public. So what do you think about that, Piper?
It makes sense. It makes sense. The whole Clinton Foundation. Actually, hold on. Go on. Say it again. I'll be honest. I wasn't really listening to you. I was trying to figure out my end. Sorry.
Yeah, it's just about the Russia dossier. Like they're calling it like the PP dossier, and there's more and more evidence that's coming out that says that it was purchased, and even that Hillary Clinton and her campaign knew it was fake, but they were pushing it forward. And I think, you and I definitely agree on this, that the whole thing seemed fake from the beginning. Like, who fell for that?
Yeah, and the thing is, too, I mean, here's what happened. The DNC, they hired Fusion GPS, which hired Christopher Steele, which got his information from higher-up people in the Russian government. And yet, then they have the audacity to claim that it's Trump colluding with the Russians. The whole notion is just completely, backwards. I mean, there is clear evidence the DNC and Hillary Clinton did, in fact, collude with Russia against Trump. But yet the media tries to spin it in a certain way, so you look negative. So Trump appears to be like he's breaking the law, and it's ass backwards, to be honest.
Yeah, they're basically just accusing Trump of what they were doing. I mean, once you start to look into what the Clintons were doing with, Uranium One and Clinton Foundation, it looks like the people are looking into the Clinton Foundation for like racketeering. I think the Clinton Foundation was first investigated like way back in 2001. So they've got a long history of people looking into their criminality, and yet the dossier and Fusion GPS, everyone was trying to push that stupid story the whole time.
And it's more than just the Clinton Foundation. I mean, their whole career has been nothing but scandal after scandal. I mean, there's Whitewater, there's Cattlegate, Filegate, Pardongate, Emailgate, Chinagate, Travel. I mean, there are so many of these scandals, and I think there's an old aphorism that says, "Where there's smoke, there's fire." And well, for Hillary Clinton, it's no longer smoke; it is an actual fire.
Yeah.
People are just blinded by it, and they don't want to look at her. And they don't want, I think what happens is that people, I think because she was so kind of famous in a way that they wanted her to be the first female president, and they saw her being the first female president decades ago, that they basically just let her get away with it. And it's sad, but it's the country we live in, the world we live in.
Yeah, I mean, you said, where there's smoke, there's usually fire. Well, there was like the fire Clinton's house
Yeah, I
last
heard
week.
about that too.
Like literally a fire, that was
What's
a
interesting
strange
about
story.
that, I was actually watching The Truth Factory, and the cat on there, the cat was saying that it was kind of interesting that all of a sudden, after a new investigation is confirmed to be open regarding the Clinton Foundation, one of Hillary Clinton's house, or rather a house that's adjacent to her house, starts on fire. And like the cat made it seem, I like to call him the cat, the cat made it seem like there was, that they were tangentially connected, which it wouldn't surprise me if they were. It seems like something Hillary Clinton would do, because we all remember what happened during the election with not BitChute, I'm thinking of Bitwipe or something like that.
BleachBit.
BleachBit, thank you. How she erased all of her information on her server. It's like people that are innocent just don't do that.
Yeah, that's definitely overkill. That's a great point. Like all the smashed Blackberries and like all the laptops, like that's just like one other facet of all the different ways. So I wanted to point out that tonight we're doing a special here where if you guys donate in the super chat, it's going to split. It's going to go to Piper and I. So if you guys feel like throwing down, I know it's a Tuesday, but if you don't have it, if you can't support us with super chat, at least subscribe to the Piper Report. I included a link to his channel and in the show notes. And so, yeah, we've been doing videos for a while together, huh?
Yeah, I think it's like our 7th one or something, but
yeah,
it's been
a while.
I think
I found your channel like pretty early on. I don't remember what topic it was, but it seems like we kind of cover a lot of similar stuff. So
yeah,
maybe that's why. And similar subscribers.
I remember the first time I contacted you, our first interview, that was me, and that was me 25 pounds heavier than I am now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I watched some of that. Your transformation there. So
I digress. Continue on.
Okay, so the second article that I have is from Zero Hedge, and it says there no free passes for the Clinton Foundation. So this is by Charles Ortel. So he's has a lot of information about the Clinton Foundation's pretty knowledgeable guy on the topic. So thought this was a good article to, after the show comes out, I'll stick it in the show notes here. But it says that it appears that key authorities may finally be turning strict attention towards answering tough questions about public filings of Clinton's charities. So yes, it said that Clinton Foundation was investigated between 2001 and 2005. It had to do with a nonprofit they were running about fighting HIV/AIDS internationally, something involving like the Clinton Law Library. It's a pretty good rundown if anyone wants to see all the different ways in which the Clintons have been involved with their foundations and how they've been shuffling money. And like we've seen more recently, like doing speeches, like pay to play type stuff.
Well, what's interesting too, Holly, what I noticed, and I think I actually covered this on one of my older videos, is that WikiLeaks actually confirmed a quid pro quo between Hillary Clinton and a foreign government. I don't want to say for certain which government it was because I forgot, but I think it was Morocco or something like that, that basically you give me money and I will get you in to talk about policy. And I remember I covered it a while ago, and I was going to look it up before we started talking, but I confess I forgot. But yeah, I mean, they've been doing this for so long, and I'm hoping for the best, but I can't see someone like her being arrested. If she would have been, it would have happened already, but I am hoping for the best, but preparing for the worst.
Yeah, so you don't think anything's gonna happen?
As of now, I don't, because I think it comes
Oh,
down,
wow.
no, because I think it comes down to one particular question. Who is going to investigate her? What I read is that senior prosecutors are investigating her. Well, senior prosecutors, that term scares me because that represents a deep state for me. That represents prosecutors who have been in the DOJ for years. And as we know from Mueller and Comey, the deep state does exist. And if they've been there a long time, I think they're going to be reticent to actually do a proper investigation into Hillary Clinton. I think you will see them sabotage it, just like you've seen Comey basically sabotage it. And one more thing before I guess hand it over to you. The thing with Comey that really made me mad, and you can ask any police investigator this, when you do investigation, you interview the person you're investigating first, then you do your investigation, then at the conclusion, you interview him or her again to see how their stories has changed. Comey, being a career prosecutor and a cop, he did that thing ass backwards. Well, then we found out later on that he planned to exonerate her from the very beginning due to leaked memos that he wrote. So
Wow.
it's just it's kind of, I don't know. I'm hoping for the best that she does get what's coming to her, but it's hard for me to actually accept it unless we see an actual good investigation with bipartisan people that want to do their job correctly and don't want to help her.
Oh, that's great, Piper. So yeah, someone sent us a $10 super chat. Woo!
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, and they said hi Holly, and who's the other person? This is the Piper report. So I just shared the link there. And so yeah, I like speaking with the Piper report about different topics because he has a different perspective. I hadn't really thought about Comey and all the different ways, the mechanics of how they would actually be prosecuted. I've been kind of wrapped up in all the scandal.
Actually, I was going to tell you that I am actually very impressed with the range of your articles because you report on articles that I never even heard of, and it's impressive some of the articles you actually report on. I confess, I started posting in the comments section my email address, people to send me articles because it's amazing. I'm not going to lie, I'm actually impressed with what you report on and the scope that you report on it.
It's definitely because of my viewers. It really is. Like I sometimes it's kind of crazy. I'll get like 30 or more emails a day, but people find some real gems. It's cool. And then I will take that and try to expand on it. So yeah, definitely when you make videos, tell people like send me show ideas because it's pretty cool and definitely saves me a lot of time. Otherwise I'd be scouring for hours, which
Yeah.
like I kind of want to do anyway, but people help me out a lot.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with that. But back to the Clinton Foundation here. I covered this recently. Representative Gates, he actually was on Tucker Carlson tonight, and he made a comment saying that we are going to send an "I'm with her" T-shirt to Hillary Clinton's cellmate. So
Oh,
I'm hoping, I mean, if he says that and he is on the House Judiciary Committee, I believe it is, that's supposedly investigating her, or rather overseeing the investigation into her, I'm hoping that, I guess I'm hoping that it happens.
yeah, I don't know. I like how you're somewhat tempered. Maybe I shouldn't be jumping on it. But I mean, Zach Holler, I'm going to be sharing one of his articles. Shout out to Zach Holler if you don't follow. He's a shirtless pundit on Twitter, and he just wrote a really great article about the Clinton Foundation and really breaking it down. And so I think there's a lot of people really doing a lot of research on this topic right now. So the next article is official FBI investigating Clinton Foundation for months. So now it's been revealed that people probably thought that the Clinton looked at it all, but I guess the Hill's reporting that FBI agents from Little Rock conducted an interview with a potential witness, and the paper said that the Justice Department has launched a new inquiry. So I'm kind of wondering if that has to do with any of the Judicial Watch emails. Judicial Watch sued Huma Abedin and Justice Department to get the emails off of Anthony Weiner's laptop. And I know this is like convoluted at times and hard to follow, but Weiner's laptop had 2,800 emails from Hillary Clinton and Huma Abedin on her, and it connected to her private server, which was at the house in Chappaqua.
That right there.
We'll see.
Yeah, that right there is a crime. Unless Anthony Weiner actually had top secret security clearance, or if he was briefed in on the on the material that Huma Abedin and Hillary Clinton were working on, that right there is an actual crime. However, nothing's going to happen to her, Huma Abedin. I mean, okay, I should say I'm hoping something does, but as of now, nothing has happened to her. It's possible in the future, but it kind of makes you just reflect on how lucky the Clintons have been to have people in government that protect them. They should have been arrested years ago.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, it's kind of astounding the levels, the racketeering that's gone on for decades. Like, I mean, if I were a fan of like mafia type stuff, then it's at least impressive, you know?
That's actually funny you brought that up, because I think this was in 2015 or 2016, the former assistant of the FBI director, James Kallstrom, he basically said that the Clinton family is synonymous with organized crime. He called them the Clinton crime family. He said Loretta Lynch basically impeded the investigation into Hillary Clinton, and that Hillary is a pathological liar. I mean, this was the assistant FBI director, James Kallstrom. So I think it does delineate pretty accurately how most people feel about the Clintons.
I don't know. I'm wondering if it's connected at all still with the executive order that we talked about for a quick second there in the front, the beginning of the episode.
I confess I heard about that, but I didn't really dive into it. But I mean, it's basically just like asset seizure, correct?
Yeah, I'm kind of torn on it. Some people are like, this is like a totally slippery slope. And then this is like a way to after like crimes and people who are doing crimes in several countries. I don't know. I'm torn on it, you know. I'm usually wary of executive orders in general.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, in the ideal society for the U.S. government, legislation is supposed to be passed through Congress and then signed by the president. But we saw Obama just get trigger happy, and Trump has been doing quite a few of them himself. So I think we're starting to deviate away from that path, and hopefully we can get back on track and start following the Constitution. But I think more and more we're seeing more deviation, and it's not really getting any better. But I should say also with that is that some executive orders are indeed good. So yeah, it depends how obstructionist the Congress is. If you have a Congress that hates the president, for instance, say the Democrats were the majority in both houses, Trump would not be able to get anything done at all. He's already having trouble due to the Democrats. So I do understand executive orders. They may be a necessity at times, but at the same time, as a constitutionalist, I do hope we revert back to the Constitution more.
What's an example of a good executive order? Like, not to put you on the spot, but
that's actually a tough question. You put me on the spot.
Sorry.
No, that's right. Okay, this one is this may be something you disagree with. I liked it though, but on his first day of office, one of his executive orders was to get the Keystone Pipeline back on track. So I mean, I understand as a Green Party member, you and I might disagree on, the energy industry and things of that nature, but I was impressed with that, and I guess I leave it open that there can be good executive orders made.
Well, I mean, you're the one who's out there. I mean, what state are you in?
North Dakota.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not gonna tell you can't have your opinion on that for sure. I mean, you're actually out there,
Right.
I live in Maine, so we've had some pipeline stuff, kind of like crude oil, but that's not the same.
Right. No, I understand that.
So this is the Zach Holler article, just sharing for the viewers. Under the Clintons' leadership, the State Department approved $165 billion of commercial arms sales to 20 nations whose governments have given money to the Clinton Foundation. Derived from 3 full fiscal years of Clinton state, represented nearly double the values made to those countries and approved by the State Department during the same period of George W. Bush's second term. So yeah, it's not really, I mean, we haven't even talked about what Clinton was doing as Secretary of State, the pay to play, what happened with Benghazi. I think a lot of people have forgotten about that.
And it's funny because there was, I think she was a representative, I don't know if it was state or U.S. representative, Corrine Brown, and she was recently prosecuted for charity fraud, and the fraud consisted of like $800,000 that went missing, essentially. And I mean, the Clintons, if we were to get down to brass tacks, they basically, I mean, their fraud may be upwards to like in the millions, maybe the tens of millions. If Bill Clinton get like $1 million paycheck from Russia for like a half-hour speech, it doesn't surprise me how much more money they can get from other governments.
Yeah, and I think on a larger scale, like if people have actually been following all of this, the Clinton scandals, you can go back decades if you really wanted to follow it, back to when they were in Arkansas. But, the more recently stuff with like Haiti, people remember the Clinton Foundation taking a bunch of money from Haiti and just funneling it. So Julian Assange tweeted, leaked Podesta emails confirm that Chelsea Clinton diverted over $3.1 million to the Haitian Relief Fund via the Clinton Foundation to pay for her wedding. So they're looking into one of Chelsea's foundations as well.
That seems like something they would do.
All right. So I think we gave everyone a good little overview of what's up with the Clintons. So I wanted you to take up the topic of what is this, Michael Wolff's bombshell book about Trump?
Oh yeah. I should say first, I actually just thought of a executive order that I agreed with. However, he did take it back. It was a hiring freeze for the federal government. So I like that. No, that was actually Trump, but he actually did rescind that though, so it kind of sucks. I enjoyed that. I like that because it kept government at bay, but he did rescind it. But that's a good example of something.
It had a short run.
Yeah.
Why was it? What happened? It was just unconstitutional or something?
No, I mean, it was pretty much constitutional, but he rescinded it. I'm guessing probably the neocons that work in his cabinet maybe talked him out of it, because when it comes down to it, they want the military industrial complex to grow, and they like, increasing the CIA and NSA and all this stuff. So I think it's maybe an internal thing more than anything, but I mean, it was a good executive order. I liked it, but it was sad when it.
All right. Well, thanks for that. Yeah, I definitely put you on the spot with that.
I'm like, no, it's all good.
I'm like, what can I even name for an executive order right now? Okay. So the new book that came out is called Fire and Fury Inside Trump's White House. Do you know anything about this?
Yeah, I actually just did a video today on it. And what's really interesting and should be clarified from the very beginning is that the writer, Michael Wolff, in the prologue, he admits that the material may be false. Basically what happened was he had more than one source tell him a bunch of different information, and he picked what source he thought was correct. So what he should have done, if he really wanted to write a book about it, about what happened in Trump's first months of office, he maybe should have clarified the two different standpoints or two different viewpoints he heard from those that work for Trump, and maybe let the reader decide. What he did, he basically tried to make a fictitious book into nonfiction. And I think most people are, there's even people in the left corporate media who are actually denouncing him for doing it. Because like some of his claims just don't make sense. Like how Trump didn't know who John Boehner was, even though Trump golfed with him like 5 years ago. It's just things like that that can be proven false. He tried to ascertain them and try to make them claim that they were indeed true.
Yeah, this is all, it's totally like I don't know, it's just like a really big long hit piece, I guess.
And what's really interesting too, I think the reason why he did write that prologue where he admitted, essentially this may or may not be true, was to protect himself from any future libel suits, because some of the claims in there, it could be construed as libel, especially if he basically, Bannon said Trump committed treason and things of that nature. So I think he wrote in the prologue to basically kind of cover himself from any future possibility of libel suits.
I mean, it's just bad for journalism, like it doesn't matter what you think about Trump. It's just, it degrades the idea of nonfiction. It degrades journalism. It degrades the presidency. It could set a precedent where anyone could write these big hit piece books, constantly.
Yeah,
and then saying it's true,
Yeah, and I forgot what I was going to say, actually. I forgot what I was going to say.
No, that's okay. Let's see. I had a link here. Let's see. WikiLeaks shares the full text of Wolf's Trump book. So I didn't hear about this, but oops. WikiLeaks posts the full text of Michael Wolff's explosive new book about President Trump on Sunday. Seems kind of weird. Did you know anything about that?
I actually just remembered now what I was going to say. It was about that. I think the main reason this Michael Wolff wrote what he did and like making these salacious claims was just to garner attention for himself, because he knows that controversy breeds media attention. Because look what happened with Donna Brazile. What she wrote about the DNC, and she became like a superstar overnight instead of a fraud and a cheat, which she is. But I think Michael Wolff wanted to behave in a similar manner, so he knew that he could make the most outlandish claims there is, then he could preface it by saying that some of these may or may not be true, we don't know. So he's basically covering himself from libel, but at the same time garnering attention by writing about salacious claims. I mean, because like one of them, for instance, was the former British PM told Kushner that the Brits were spying on Trump administration. I mean, that's a serious accusation.
Yeah, that's way more, newsworthy than this. They said that the book at one popular Washington, D.C. bookstore, the book sold out in just 20 minutes. So this is from Business Insider, this article. But then they talk about, they're like, oh yeah, like Trump not knowing who John Boehner is, just like really, really like just dumb stuff. It's like, I don't know. I think you're right. It's just, and it was just dominating the news though, too, to the point where, oh, well, this proves that Trump is crazy. So that there's a larger conversation about, his sanity and why and whoever would be working to declare him insane.
and this isn't the first time this Michael Wolff did this. In 1998, he brought a book out, and I think there's been like almost like 10 or so people that said that they were falsely misrepresented. Their quotes were misrepresented in the book. I think it was called Burn Rate, the book. And I mean, this is the second time he's done this. And
that's the same author?
Yeah, same author.
Oh, wow.
And it kind of reinforces your argument that how this affects journalism. It puts a bad spin on it. I mean, there's already a bad spin due to corporate media influence and them controlling a narrative. But when you have people like this writing these books, using, misrepresenting people, it's just more of a downer for the journalism industry. And I think that's also why, kind of on an off topic here, is why independent media like yourself, Bullshit Man, people like that are actually growing, because people are starting to see through the charade.
I don't know. It just seems so much of it seems just so base now, like they're just getting the whole thing's just getting sillier and sillier. Like all the news, it's just and they're just shooting themselves in the foot. Like they think that they can control the narrative by just talking about ridiculous stuff all day. I don't know. People eat it up though.
They do. And what's happening though is that for the most part, the people that are eating this up, I mean, especially like in terms of mainstream media, like on television, are the boomer generation, and they are getting up there. Once they go, you're going to see a rapid decrease of viewership on television. People are going to start deviating away from that and getting their news from online sources. So I think that corporate media, mainstream media like MSNBC, CNN, and Fox News, I think they really have to report on outrageous things, just because they know that in a few years they're gonna have to make up a new way to garner those views back once the boomers basically go.
That's an interesting perspective. I have seen, I don't know if you've seen this, Styx and a couple of other people did a video about how mainstream news people are like tweeting and saying like people who write for like BuzzFeed or whatever, or some sort of quasi legit, internet. It's still like mainstream alternative news or something. And they're like, oh, we think it's funny that YouTubers and people who are doing that sort of stuff want to get paid for interviews, and they want to make a living. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, it's sad when they make those claims. I mean, I'm pretty sure that me, you, and countless others maybe do more research into what we're reporting on than them. They probably have their private jets where they get flown somewhere, and they got connections, they got inside scoops. Like, we don't have that pretty much. We have to do our own research and dig through the material, dig through the bull crap and the truth, and try to report on it in such a fashion to keep people entertained, but also try to influence them and give them true, accurate news from a different standpoint, for they don't hear it from the corporate media, a different narrative than they hear from the corporate media.
Yeah, I think people are hungry for that. I mean, it just when I said that the TV was dumb and base, like all the people in the chat are like, "Yeah, everyone's sick of the TV," and that's why the streaming and watching videos is it's really interesting. I think it's really going to take off in the next couple years. I mean, it already is. But meanwhile, the our politicians and the mainstream media is just degrading. Like, they're talking about trying to impeach Trump, and people are getting all riled up about that. They're getting riled up about Oprah trying to run.
Yeah, I heard that.
What do you think about that?
Well, it's kind of interesting. It's almost like because since Donald Trump won, he was basically a reality TV star. Yes, he was a businessman, but he was known for being a reality TV star. It's like they want to try to combat that with their own reality TV star, and they want to do a woman for they can get the I guess just the vision, the image of the first woman president, and then she's also black, which adds to it. So I think they picked her based on her identity over anything else. I mean, for instance, me personally, I don't know where she stands on many of political policies. I'm sure many others don't know. So I think they picked her because she's a black female and she could fund her own campaign, and she could maybe, come off as a Trump-like, but less braggadocious and less, I guess, loud as he is. So I think that's why they did that. But I don't know. I don't see her. I don't see her running for president, but still got 3 years to go. So maybe.
Yeah, I think they're trying to throw people out there, like, see what sticks. They're like, what about this person and this person? And yeah, you're totally right. Like, Oprah is similar to Trump in a lot of ways, like this whole empire that they've built up, and like the name brand recognition, and she's got a ton of money and lots of very powerful connections. There were those creepy photos of her like all hanging out with Harvey Weinstein, and people even accused her of like trying to peddle women off to Harvey Weinstein. So she's definitely in the in crowd.
And that's sad too about that, because just from a superficial standpoint regarding her, she seems like she's a philanthropist who cares about rights for children, and like she gives out cars to those in her studio
Yeah.
audience. So I mean, she appears to be someone who is caring and altruist, but at the same
Right.
time, she has these hidden connections and these surreptitious, like I guess, activities, with Harvey Weinstein. And it's just, she's part of that Hollywood establishment, although her superficial appearance doesn't seem to indicate that. She seems like she's different, but when it comes down to it, she is in the swamp of Hollywood.
I think people are also realizing that it really is like once you get up into the upper echelons of like Hollywood and, rich people, like the culture and everything, it's like 2 degrees of separation, and there's really no difference in a lot of ways between the Republican Party and the Democrat Party, and just these super rich people definitely all know each other. I mean, and all got to work together.
Yeah, I do think it'd be interesting to see her and Trump debate. That'd be interesting, because
Oh man.
I'm not sure that I don't watch Oprah. I never really have, so I don't know really if she I guess how she talks with people, or does she get upset. But it would be interesting to see like how she handles Trump. I don't know. That'd be kind of funny to watch.
Oh man, that just sounds like a movie or something that they would have
Yeah,
made like 10 years ago or something. They're like, Donald Trump of The Apprentice versus off against Oprah, the talk show host, and people would be like, they would think it was cool, except it's like in real life now, I guess,
yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, it's have you ever seen that movie Idiocracy?
I
Like a
tried, but I couldn't stand it. I had to turn it off.
Yeah, I thought it was really weird. I don't know. I might have to like retry it. I haven't seen it in a long time. And I thought it was too weird too, but maybe it's more I don't know, appropriate now. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, right.
So, do you know anything about like the 25th Amendment or like the ideas about trying to impeach Trump or trying to get him out of office that way?
Well, I did notice before we started here, I did kind of write down just 5 things that the media and just those that dislike Trump have been doing to impeach Trump. And I think the fifth one deals with the 25th Amendment and a legislation that's going to be introduced soon. But I mean, basically, after the election, the first obstacle Trump had to face was vote tampering. People think the election was basically hacked. The second one was Russia colluded, and that therefore the Electoral College should not allow Trump to become president, because they had that option to not vote him in January. And then the third one is Trump colluded with Russia in an illicit fashion, and therefore he must be investigated for criminality. And then the fourth one, nothing has stuck so far. So now they're trying to diagnose his mental competency by saying he is basically insane. And because of that, Representative Brendan Boyle is going to introduce legislation called the Stable Genius Act to test presidential candidates for mental illness. I mean, really?
Wow.
That's insane. Like, they're so desperate to get him out of office that they do all of these obstacles. And then now they're actually going to introduce legislation with the title of something he said to touch, quotation marks, future candidates. But really, it's all about Trump.
Wow. Yeah, I hadn't heard about that until you mentioned that. So I quickly pulled up an article about the 25th Amendment being used for mental health purposes. It passed in 1965 in the wake of the chaos that followed the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. The amendment sets out rules for replacing a president in the event of their death, resignation, or inability to, quote, discharge the powers and duties of office. So, Section 4 of the amendment, which addresses the case of a president who is deemed unable to fill his or her role, but is unwilling to step down. So they can tell him to step down.
I
with
don't
that.
get that though. Like, what constitutes not filling your role? Because, I mean, yes, Trump has tweeted some, I guess, crazy, outlandish things, but in terms of his political acumen, he really hasn't done anything that's radical. I mean, he actually behaved himself kind of like normal presidents would. He hasn't really gone crazy on any, I guess you could say, racist executive orders or anything like that. I don't know. I don't see really how they can try to, impeach him by using a 25th Amendment by saying he's not handling the presidency properly.
Yeah, basically they're like, oh, they're already using like that book that just came out, Fire and Fury inside the Trump White House to have these quotes that say, okay, people are having water cooler conversations where they're like, oh, Trump's about to unravel
Yeah.
and trying to use that sort of stuff as evidence. So I don't know. I don't know how they could really use that. I'm wondering if Democrats are just trying to spin their wheels and act like they're doing something. I don't know.
Well, Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks, like 100 days ago, he predicted Trump would be either impeached or out of office or resign by the end of his first year. Well, it's probably his first year, so it hasn't happened. And I think he's just grasping at straws like everyone else in the corporate media that dislike Donald Trump.
I think people in this article are saying like, oh, he can't have control of the nuclear button and stuff like that. That's what people are really scared about.
Yeah, and this is what irritates me because I actually got in an argument with someone about this. Trump cannot unilaterally set off nuclear weapons. There is a two-man rule, meaning he needs a Secretary of Defense to okay it. And Mad Dog Mattis, despite his name Mad Dog, would never ever unilaterally or allow Trump to nuke a city on a proactive measure, maybe in terms of defense, but not proactively. So people are thinking Donald Trump can just nuke whomever he wants. No, that's not true. There's a two-man rule. You can Google it. It's there, but people don't talk about that, and they think that Trump's so crazy that he can do whatever he wants with the button.
I just wanted to read these tweets. I thought it was kind of funny, but he's got a point here. Trump says, actually, throughout my life, my two greatest assets have been my mental stability and being like really smart. Crooked Hillary Clinton also played these cards very hard. And as everyone knows, she went down in flames. I went from a very successful businessman to a top TV star to president of the United States on my first try. I think that would qualify me as not smart, but genius, and a very stable genius at that.
Oh yeah, I'll be honest. He is not articulate at all. It's clear to everyone, but I think people are basing his articulation and try to say that since he's not articulate in his words, that he is just a moron or he is just incompetent or mentally deranged. And I don't think I don't think you can really connect the parallel there.
I just think it's funny all the names that he comes up for people. I think that's why they like want him to stop tweeting, just because he's got, and it's a direct way. Like I've said this on other channels before. This is like the first time a president has ever, used Twitter or used like the internet to talk directly, speak to the people. And it's definitely, I think, pisses off the mainstream news because they can't control the narrative like they usually do.
Right? I mean, he has, for better or worse, I think better, revolutionized basically the social media platform, especially in terms of politics. I mean, I think you're going to see in the future more and more people try to emulate him and what he has done. Sometimes I agree. Sometimes his tweets I don't like, but he does have that ability now to get his message out to the people immediately. He doesn't have to really go through the backroom dealings. And what's better is that if he wanted to, he should do this. I think he should. Is that, like, for instance, Jim Acosta from CNN? If you ever watch him during the press conferences, he's just trying to garner attention, make himself just like seem, I guess, hot shit for lack of a better phrase. But he could basically kick CNN out or other media organizations out. He could, in theory, just deliver his press conferences straight to the people via Facebook or not YouTube or Twitter and things of that nature. So it's a possibility, and I think he should look at it, to be honest.
That's a cool idea. Yeah, if he started up like live streaming and stuff like that, I think people would be pretty excited about that.
Because Jim Acosta, he's just, I don't know, I can't stand him. Every time I try to watch a press conference with him, he's always interrupting, and he asks a question and he doesn't like let anyone answer. And you can tell he's just trying to just garner attention for him, trying to make himself, be the enemy of Trump, the man who stands up for freedom and stands up for the little guy or things of that nature. And I think it just comes off as false.
I think, what was it? Someone from House of Representatives, was that Al Green or something? Like someone put out a bill to impeach Trump, and I'm pretty sure it just died on the floor.
Yeah, there's actually, I think there's been 2 bills so far in the House. One for sure. Yeah, I remember that. He was from California, I guess, obviously.
Okay.
But yeah, it died. And here's what's interesting though. If the Democrats win the House in 2018, are they going to file articles of impeachment? And I don't know. I mean, it's kind of hard to determine whether they will or not, because if they do and it does pass, the Senate has to do an investigation. And I can't see the Senate doing that. I don't think Republicans are going to lose their Senate majority, so much so that the Democrats can actually do articles of impeachment and then investigate the impeachment. So it should be interesting, though, if they actually plan on filing articles of impeachment, if they do indeed win the House.
So I'm going to put you on the spot one last time. We've pretty much wrapped up all the articles here, and we're keeping the show just under an hour here. And like I mentioned in the beginning, if you guys throw a super chat, we're splitting the proceeds tonight. So feel free if you're interested. And so what have you been doing on your channel, Piper, recently?
I actually did a couple edited videos. One of them, I actually enjoy it. I kind of got the idea from the movie Rules of Attraction. I don't know if you ever seen it or not.
No.
Well, anyway, there's a guy named Victor. He goes to Europe for like just a trip, college trip, and they break it down like in a 5-minute montage. And anyways, what I did, I took that song and I basically broke down 62 headline articles of 2017, and I put it on my channel. It's like 2.5 minutes long, and I don't know, it was really fun to do, and I kind of like it. But other than that, just the same old, same old. I'm working on a new podcast called PolitiHub. So I want it to be a video podcast where I guest on and things of that nature, but that's still in the works. So I'm hoping to complete that soon. But
Oh, cool. Where are you going to put your podcasts?
I will pretty much post it everywhere. I mean, I actually do have the website for it. I actually bought the domain name. It expires in 2020, but I worked on some of it, but I don't know, it's kind of a hassle. It takes a lot of work to make a website. So I'm probably going to wait till I have PolitiHub up and running and then finish the website, but it'll be on social media. And I'm not really sure what's going to happen with the Piper reports. I mean, in terms of the name, it's going to be me yet doing my material, but I'll be probably saying PolitiHub more than Piper Report, but I guess
you can just click and change it,
Yeah, that's what I would be doing. Yeah.
That's cool. That's a good name. So you got some plans for the next year. That's
yeah,
cool.
I'm hoping it all goes through. But if not, I mean, there's still the Piper Report, and I do enjoy what I'm doing. So
cool. Yeah. So thanks for coming on my channel.
Oh yeah, it was fun, and I think it's like our 7th one, so we'll probably be doing the 8th one shortly if you want, maybe next week or something.
Yeah. Or I could go on your channel, or we'll figure it out. So sorry about the technical difficulties again. Maybe we can try it on your computer until I figure that out, because that happened last time too. So
yeah, right. I'm not sure why, but yeah, we'll have to look at it.
Sorry everyone. So thanks for hanging in, and thanks for checking out the live show, and thanks for the super chats. And I will be doing another live show on my channel this Thursday at 8 o'clock Eastern. So make sure you subscribe to the Piper Report. Thanks, Piper.
Yeah, it's been fun.